What's up, guys? It's Ben with 2020 election predictions, and we are 9 weeks from the presidential election. We're getting closer and closer, by the way, and the race is tightening up as we've seen it in the polls. Today, let's get right into it. I'm going to predict the electoral matchup between Donald Trump and Mike Pence versus Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And I'm going to use models. I'm going to use historical results. I'm going to use betting odds. I'm even going to use Census Bureau data because I think this is all important. So let's just jump right in and let me kind of explain some of the characterizations that I've already made. I've changed the state of Nevada from a lean to likely characterization by looking back at the kind of historical data and the polling data. This is one of the few states where the polling data is actually skewed towards the GOP typically. And I think the polls are going to do that again. I don't think Nevada is going to be super competitive. I think Texas is a lean characterization. I don't really expect Biden to have a chance in it, even though he's going to put some money into it. People are saying that Texas is going to go blue in 2020. I don't believe it. And we've seen a host of polls where I think John Cornyn on that Senate level is actually going to help Donald Trump. And I think that the social unrest that we've seen recently has actually helped Donald Trump in the state. With Iowa and Ohio, just looking back at the 2016 results just tell us the story why I don't think these will be swing states, even though historically Ohio has been kind of the bellwether. I think Biden's path to victory doesn't come through Ohio. Donald Trump won by 10 points, and we won about 8 points in Ohio. And I think his margins are going to be smaller, but I still expect him to hold it there. And then with New Hampshire, I think that this is going to be a lean state towards Biden, even though it was the closest state in terms of raw votes in 2016. Since the coronavirus, we can see that Trump's poll numbers have gone down. So Trump definitely had a chance kind of before the George Floyd protests and the coronavirus, but we can see recently that Biden's leading by double digits. So that's why I have it as a link characterization. All right, so let's dive in. I'm going to go from the most right-leaning states to the most left-leaning states, and I'm going to fill in the 7 or 8 swing states that I have right here. So first I want to start in the state of Georgia. I think Georgia is going to be a lean characterization towards Donald Trump, so he's going to win it by 2 to 5 points. That's what the lean characterization is. The tilt characterization is 2 points and under. I think this could very well turn into a tilt state if Biden improves, if we see the polling data. But we can see here that Donald Trump won the state by 5 points in 2016. And I do think that this state is trending trending bluer as the state kind of gets more diverse in terms of their demographics. And we saw this evidence in the 2018 midterms. That was a very, very close election, 1.5 points between Brian and Kevin Stacey Abrams. But I still expect Donald Trump to hold on. And I think that David Perdue on the Senate level is going to help him. Next up is the state of North Carolina. I think this is going to be a tilt state towards the Republicans. In 2016, Donald Trump won the state by about 3.5 points. I think it's going to be a smaller margin than that. I think Biden will be able to appeal. Biden and Harris will probably be able to convince some Trump voters to vote for them in 2016 or in 2020, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think one thing that hurts Trump in the state is having a popular Democratic incumbent governor. In Roy Cooper. I expect Roy Cooper to win his seat. And right now, I think that the Senate seat leans towards Cal Cunningham, the Democrat. So I think right now I have this state as kind of splitting its votes between the two. Next up, this might surprise some people. I have Wisconsin as tilting towards the incumbent Republican President Donald Trump. And this is a change from where I've had it before. I've had Wisconsin as a lean Democratic state and a tilt Democratic state. Now I'm switching it to a tilt Republican state. And this is when I'm going to use some of the Census Bureau data. Looking more at just the raw data in a state like Wisconsin, I hate to slice it and dice the voting electorate by race, but just looking at the white populations in each state, typically states with higher white populations tend to skew towards Republicans, and there is a big difference between the Rust Belt. People like to lump the Rust Belt states together, having Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, because they all were part of Hillary Clinton's blue wall and flipped towards Donald Trump. but they're very, very different states. Wisconsin has a lot more like rural areas than I would say like a state like Michigan that has like the urban areas of Flint and to Detroit that typically are kind of Democratic strongholds. But Wisconsin has an 87% white population, which is a lot higher than Pennsylvania's 82, and Michigan 79, and all three of these are higher than the U.S. at large. And I think that's why Donald Trump's unique appeal to the white working class, the forgotten man and woman, and I think that the polls right now have um, Donald Trump down and Joe Biden leading in Wisconsin, but I'm predicting what's going to happen 9 months or 9 weeks from now, and I think that Donald Trump will be able to close the gaps. And I also think that the polls are going to be a little bit biased towards Joe Biden, like they were in 2016. I don't think as much, but I mean, right now Biden is up by 3 points in the polls, and Hillary Clinton was up by 6.5 points on election day, and Donald Trump still won. So now moving on, I think that Arizona is actually going to be a tilt Republican state too. If we look at the 538 forecast, we can see that Arizona is actually the closest state in terms of like which one they're going to think is the close. Trump wins in 45% of scenarios, Biden in 55%. It's been getting very, very close, 52 and 48. And we've seen some polls here and there. There was this last poll that just came out today, I think, that had Biden plus 10. However, I mean, I think we see this every single election go around. Donald Trump won the state by 3.5 points in 2016. I do think it has trended left, but like Texas, where everyone says it's going to go blue just like now or like one more, I think Arizona's going to hold on and Donald Trump's going to win it just barely. I think it's going to be the closest state. Out of all the states, I think Arizona's going to be the closest state. But I think that Donald Trump will be able to hold on for one more election in 2020. And then I think it's going to be very hard for a Republican at the presidential level to win. All right, so I'm going to take a little break here right now just to remind you to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So you can do that right here. All right. Moving on, I hope that you've done that if you haven't subscribed already. Now I'm going to move into the tilt Democratic states. I said that I was going to go from right to left, and we see that Donald Trump right now, I don't think that Donald Trump is going to win. However, he's very, very close, and let me explain why. I think Pennsylvania right now is a tilt Democratic state to Joe Biden. I think that Joe Biden's going to make a huge play in Pennsylvania. He lived there for a while. I think he's going to have he's going to have a better time appealing to some of the same voters that Trump did in 2016 that Hillary Clinton failed to reach out to. I do understand that on the snaking map that Nate Silver has Pennsylvania to the right of Wisconsin, so I think that they're going to be very close. The only reason why I have Wisconsin to the left of Pennsylvania just slightly, I mean, I think Trump's going to win it by less than half a percentage point in Wisconsin, and Biden's going to win Pennsylvania by less than half a percentage point, is because of all the social unrest and riots that have been happening in Wisconsin. I think that it is going to help Donald Trump. So now moving on, I think the next state in terms of kind of the snaking thing is going to be the state of Minnesota, which this forecast does have. That they have Minnesota as more winnable for Trump, less safe for Biden than Michigan, which I think is smart, even though Trump did not win Minnesota. I think Minnesota is going to be a tilt Democratic state, and we've seen polls come out recently that have it at a very, very close and a lot closer than before. I think Trump and Biden have been tied in the state. And I still think in the Rust Belt, the polls are going to be a little bit biased towards Joe Biden because of the shy Trump voter. Just looking at the demographics of the Rust Belt, and Minnesota has a higher white population than Michigan, even though it's not on here. The classic Trump voter is going to be a white voter. And I think that they might be afraid to tell the pollsters this, but I mean, I think that right now they don't maybe like Trump's Twitter behavior, but I think at the end of the day, we're going to see some voters vote for Trump that probably like right now would say that they wouldn't vote for Trump. Next up is the state of Florida. I think right now Florida is going to be the tipping point state. I've said this in the past that I think Florida is going to be the most important state. Right now, just looking at the polls, even though historically Republicans have done well, the polls I think mean more in a state like Florida than in the Rust Belt because Florida's population is bigger, so there's going to be less error. Just Trump has not been winning in a poll since the coronavirus hit. He was leading in the polls, but I think he really took a hit with the elderly voting population. And unless I see data that he's closing in, and I think he is closing in now, I think Florida's going to be very, very close, like it always is. I mean, even when John McCain was running, it was very, very close. I think that right now Biden holds a structural advantage in a state like Florida, and Trump has to hold on to Florida if he wants to win. Lastly, I have the state of Michigan. I have Michigan as actually a lean Democratic state at this point, which might be pretty interesting. But actually, looking at the Census Bureau data, Michigan kind of does have the most urban populations, the highest African American population of these three states that Donald Trump flipped in 2016. There was not high African American turnout in the state of Michigan in 2016. I think it will be a lot higher. I think a lot of black voters will be more energized to get Trump out of office. Black voters came out in large numbers for Biden in the Democratic primaries. Biden is their man. And I think that Biden is a lot more likable in terms in comparison to Hillary Clinton. So that's where I see the election right now. And just to fill this in right now, I think the second district in Nebraska is going to be Tilt, and the Maine second congressional district is going to be Blaine. So right now we have 240 to 239, which is very, very close. All Donald Trump has to do is flip a state like Florida, and then like Pennsylvania, or even just like Pennsylvania and Minnesota, or honestly just like Florida and Nebraska's second district, and he's got it. He would win the election. He would win again in 2020. And let me explain to you why my models have changed so much, because people completely agree with me. The betting odds had Biden up a lot, and I had Biden winning states like Arizona. I had winning states like Wisconsin, but I think this has changed. And if we look at the predicted forecasts, I didn't have it pulled up before. I'm sorry, but they also agree with me. They don't have Trump quite up yet in Arizona and in Wisconsin, but I honestly think it is a matter of time. I think the polls are more wrong in Wisconsin right now than they are in Florida, and I think that really Trump has a pretty distinct opportunity in the state. So this is my electoral map prediction right now. Please let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my predictions. And please subscribe if you haven't already. I go live a lot and I make new videos every day, and we are 9 weeks from election day, and I'm going to be doing a new video every single day. And if you have subscribed, click the bell notification right here to get updates on all my new videos and when I'm going live. Thank you guys. There'll be a new video tomorrow, so check that out.